the city of Ghazni in central Afghanistan. Officials said the fighters have taken over the homes of civilians to fight security forces. The Taliban are making a fresh push to surround cities and gain territory, emboldened by the departure of foreign forces. So far, they have not been able to hold provincial capitals, but they have put pressure on Afghan security forces to respond to offensives around the country. The US general leading the war, Austin Miller, is to relinquish command on Monday in a symbolic end to America's longest conflict. Meanwhile, the fighters claim they have captured nearly 200 districts across Afghanistan. In a statement, spokesperson Zabiullah Mujahid said thousands of Afghan troops have defected to the group. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Defense claims it has killed more than 270 fighters in the past 24 hours. It said operations were carried out in 15 provinces, including Nangarhar and Medan Vardak. Peace talks between the Taliban and the government are continuing in Doha, but officials say they are making little progress. Right now, for more on this, we have with us Brigadier Imran Malik, retired. Thank you for your time. Now, today, both the Taliban and Kabul administrations have reiterated their willingness for a peaceful political settlement. What are the sticking points preventing such an agreement from being reached?
Thank you very much for having me on the program. I think there is just too big a gap in the positions of the Taliban and the National Unity Government for that gap to be bridged in such a short time. You see, when the Americans were, or the Allied forces were there in Afghanistan, at that time they could not achieve anything in the intra-Afghan dialogue. And I do not think that it is likely to succeed at this time, at this point in time. You must remember that there were four basic points that the United States had laid down as preconditions for its departure from Afghanistan. It was an intra-Afghan dialogue, it was an interim government, a ceasefire all around, and tackling the terrorist groups which are ensconced in Afghanistan's badlands. Not a single one of those points has been completed, or rather, most of them have not even been attempted. So it is most unlikely that any one of those points can be attempted at this point in time, because the Taliban are now ascendant, and their juggernaut, in a way, is moving and rolling all over Afghanistan. And I really do not see any reason for them to give up most dominating position and then to compromise on what appears to be a potential victory for them. So right, I think these talks are not likely to succeed in bringing in any form of a solution to this Afghan imbroglio.
Right, Mr. Malik. Also, in their statement today, the Taliban mentioned peace talks with government representatives in Iran and their interactions in Moscow as well. But they did not say a word about the Doha talks. So does this mean the Taliban are no longer viewing the intra-Afghan Doha talks as a prospect for the conflict resolution?
I think so. You see, look at the people who represented the Afghan Taliban in Tehran and in Moscow. They are not the top-tier leadership of the Taliban. So these people who went there did not have the capacity to take decisions or to give any commitments. So I personally feel that the Taliban, who are ascendant now, as I've said already, they will not compromise their strong dominating position and come to a solution in which they have to compromise and agree with people they have been fighting for the last 20 years at least. That is the National Unity Government. What I feel is that the Afghan Taliban are most likely to make a run for Kabul and then serve a fait accompli to the world that here we are, now deal with us. And as a face-saving measure, it might include people from all other ethnicities and all other sectarian groups to give a whole of the Afghan nation image to the rest of the world and say that this is a coalition government that represents the whole of Afghanistan, and therefore now you must deal with that. And I think this is the most likely scenario to take place.
Right now, I also have a last question for you, and that is, how close to reality is the Taliban's claim of controlling 85% of Afghan territory?
I would take that with a pinch of salt at the moment, but I'm quite sure that they have the majority of the country under their control. But a very specific pattern and a plan that seems to be emerging. You see, they've kept all major crossings into the neighboring countries, with Tajikistan, with Turkmenistan, and with Iran. And they are now moving into the central districts like Ghazni, we talked about. And Kabul itself is under a great deal of pressure. So it is a full-fledged, I don't want to call it assault, but moves to get to get control over all of Afghanistan. And I think they are proceeding quite well on that. And if they are not having control over 85% territory at the moment, I feel that very soon, rather before the Americans leave Afghanistan for good, they might as well be controlling even more than 85%.
So, all right. So that is going to be told to us by the time whether the Taliban are going to control the entire territory of Afghanistan any sooner or later. Brigadier Imran Malik, retired, thank you very much for your time.